Hi, everybody. So, first off, as you see, I'm kind of in a weird state here. So, at first, I just want to say thanks, everybody, for showing up today. And it's going to be a hard conversation we're going to have. Hopefully, we'll be able to get through it. I'm already feeling like I need to cry. Um, so first I want to say that I always appreciate seeing all of you showing up to my lives. It means a lot to me. It means you care about having the conversations, and the conversations that I feel are super necessary right now, and that we're not having these conversations because we're being told not to have these conversations, right? So we're being told it isn't okay for me or you or anyone to have a different way of talking about our. Don't forget this. I want to reiterate this. Hey, everybody, nice to see you. Um, I want to reiterate this, and I keep telling you this. It's not theirs, it is ours. It's everybody's community. It is our right to speak out about the things we don't particularly care about. It is our right, just as is their right to and I'm distinguishing them and us because I do believe that people here and myself have a different understanding of what trans is, and it's escalating. The um the violence and the misogyny and the desire to create a false narrative around what trans is, a desire to push people out of the so-called community that do not speak the language that is on some level forced upon us. And if we don't speak that language, we are not trans. And all of the insanity that's happening, I refuse to be a part of. That is not trans. That is nothing. That is a militant space. That is a militant group, which has zero to do with trans and has zero to do with transitioning. I have a disorder called gender dysphoria. I want to keep reiterating that as well to all of you out there who are not trans, because I have a lot of non trans followers, for a lack of a better word. And I really means a lot to me that I have a lot of non-trans followers and people who listen and want to have conversation. That means a lot. That means we're building the bridge that I want to build. But that said, I really just want you to know that I see you non-trans people, and I also see that you care about this community and you care about moving us forward, because that's what real allyship is. Real allyship to me is understanding the narrative, not understanding that there's a not looking at it as an ideology, which it has become on some level, but looking at the narrative of what it means to be a transsexual person. And what that means is it's a medical space. This new self ID is getting us into a lot of problems. I know I'm going to have to touch on this subject, and I might as well do it now. Um, First, hi, everybody. It's going to be hard. So yeah, thanks, Josh. Yeah, I appreciate you being there too. So, and saying hi to everybody. So I'm going to talk about what we all need to talk about, which is the shooter. And I don't even need to go any more than that. The shooter. It's horrific, and I'm not even sure it happened so didn't happen that long ago, so we don't really know all of the sort of facts in this case. And I see everybody making this and that and this, and I think that's very dangerous when we start to make assumptions about this person. Now, I don't know, are they trans? Did they identify as trans? I don't see that. Does anybody here see where they actually said they were a trans man? Because I don't see that, other than these people just making assumptions because they had their pronouns in some bio. But do any of you see that anywhere? I would really like to know. Yeah, I don't see it. I've never seen anything where they're substantiating this particular thing. So I'm not sure if it's a fact. Okay. Now, well, and she is identifying as a he. So that would be a trans man, not a trans woman. And I see people getting confused about that. But yeah, so again, here we are. We're all speculating, right? Including myself. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to speculate about this person because it's already hard enough. See, I told you I was going to cry. I have a 10-year-old. I don't really care if the person is trans or not, the shooter. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. What I care about is we need to get down to fuck, man. I didn't want to start crying so soon. What I want to get down to is I don't care if that person is trans. None of us should care if that person is trans. What we should care about is why. Why is this happening? And why are little kids being blown away in their schools? Why? What is happening? Why are we so detached from love? Why are we so detached from, this kid who did this? And, I know they're 28, but they're still a kid to me. Why would a kid do something like that? And why are more and more kids, young people today, having so much of this anxiety, hate, depression, removed from reality, wanting to be trans? I mean, what is happening? We're not looking at the actual problem, right? We're not looking at how to create solutions. I feel like it's constantly blaming. Well, it's your fault. Well, it's this person's fault. It's the fault of guns. It's the fault of the trans community. It's the fault of the cisgender community. It's the fault of the Christians, of the Jews, of the Muslims. Do you see that? Do you see that? It's literally everybody else's fault except our. We have to start to look at it as a collective, as a group, not pointing fingers. This is those people's problem. They're the one who is going to have to fix it, not us. Yes, we all have to fix it, friends. We all have to get together and fix it. It's not just one group of people's problems. We are killing children in this country and adults because something is not right. Something is very, very wrong. That's what we need to talk about. We need to talk about this desire to create violence. Now I'm going to bring that back. I'm sorry that I'm crying. I just can't help it. I can't help it. I tried not to, but I just can't even believe 9-year-old kids were just killed. I just can't believe it. I can't. As I keep telling you, I have a kid. I have a 10-year-old. And he goes to a private school, and clearly that doesn't matter because this all happened into a private school. And I have him in a private school for many reasons, not just safety, but, I had the opportunity and I took it. But that being said, I want to get to this trans violence, okay? Let's say this person is trans, okay? Whatever. I don't necessarily think that has anything. It could have something to do with it, but until I have concrete evidence, I don't want to say that. And I hope you don't want to say it too, because I already see the media latching onto it. I already see everyone just going crazy over this trans person, right? And we're moving away from the actual problem. When we start to do that, it's, oh, he's trans and he's this and he's that and they're misgendering him and blah blah. You're literally moving away from the actual problem. Why are young people in this state? Why are young people desiring to be attached to this trans movement? Why are young people wanting to be trans? Why are young people using this trans movement and using to create a militant? I believe it's become a militant organization. I don't know how you all think about that, but it's militant. When we start having trans people say stuff like, there's a trans genocide. No, there's not. There is nowhere near a trans genocide. Do people even know what the definition of genocide is? If somebody can put the definition of genocide here, I'll put it up here so we can all learn what the definition of genocide is. I find it to be very insulting to actual genocide survivors. I find it to be very insulting to me. I find it very insulting to the fact that they're lying out there. No, they're not, Mr. Corey. They're not. They're not creating a trans genocide. That is an actual total lie. Prove it. Do you know what? Can somebody put the definition of genocide? I'm going to disagree with you. And in no way or shape or form is it hate, my friend. I just disagree with you. I don't see a genocide. Okay, here we go. Thank you. I appreciate you getting that. Here we go. The deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group and the aim of destroying that nation or group. So show me where there is a large number of killings right now. Show me. You can't. I want to see the large number of trans killings. Where are they? I would say that trans people, the trans militants, are the ones doing this genocide. They're the ones who are violent. They're the ones who are punching people in the face, 70-year-old women. They're the ones who are stopping women from having their own event called Let Women Speak. That's violence, my friend. I do not see a genocide happening in the trans community. And if you can show me, I'll change my mind. But you can't show me. So with that, I'm going to continue to move on with the trans militant organizations that are happening now. And the violence that is coming out of this trans activism is not trans activism, and I will not stand with it at all. At all. No way. How is that trans? How is punching a 70-year-old woman in the face trans? How is shutting women down trans? How is that trans rights? Because a woman says a woman is an adult female, biological woman is different than a trans woman. She deserves to be shut down, punched in the face, told she's this, that, we're going to kill you, all those things. How is that activism? Can anyone tell me how that's activism? Because it's not. That's not activism. That's violence. That's militant. You will not get anything with that. Nothing. And in fact, you're destroying the trans community. You're destroying the trans community by doing stuff like that. That's what people see. When 1,000 people show up to a let women, okay, let's just say they're a couple hundred, I don't know how many, a Let Women Speak rally, and the violence erupts because a woman is talking about what she believes in. Can you imagine? Flip that narrative. We have a trans rally. That's right, it's hate. We have a trans rally, but a bunch of non-trans people show up and start to attack trans people and take them out. How would that work? Would everybody be okay with that? No, of course they wouldn't. So why are they okay with that happening to women? I want to know. I believe that trans women are trans women, 100%. 100%. There's no doubt. When a trans woman feels that way and wants to walk the world, I respect that. But it's a trans woman. It is not a woman. There is a big difference. Stop acting like they're the same. I am not the same as a biological man. Period. There's not even a conversation to be had. So when you're pushing on women to accept you. And then the only way that you're going to get them to accept you, which you won't, by the way, is to punch them in the face. Good luck. Good luck. I'm leaving. See ya. I'm not part of that. Thank you, my friend. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it. I'm terrified of the direction we are going in this nation. I'm researching how this all came to be. Thank you. And the deeper I go, oh gosh, I commend you on that, friend, because I don't think I can. And I get more distressed. Yes. And I become genocide is occurring, but not against trans. There you go. There you go. I'm going to sort of have to agree with you there. I mean, I don't even know, where's the genocide? I want somebody to show me. You know, if you can prove to me there's an actual trans genocide, I will change my mind. I will, because I'm that person. I'm here to have conversation. I'm not here because I'm the end all be all, and I'm not here because I know everything trans. I know shit about trans, except my own experience. Just as that trans person and just as that trans person. There is no trans person that knows what trans is. What I know is what transsexualism is and what gender dysphoria is and how those things connect and you move forward. That's not what we're being told in the world today. We're being told that trans is anything you want it to be. You don't need gender dysphoria. Boom. Guess what happens when you do that, which we've been all preaching for a long time? You get kids like that shooter who supposedly identifies as trans because clearly they self-identify. When you hand over a self-ID like that, and anyone can be trans, but you're not in any way, shape, or form helping their mental health, this is mental health. Trans is mental health, kids. Has nothing more, nothing less. It is literally in your brain. And if you're not getting any help from a professional therapist, then you're not dealing with your transsexualism. You're not dealing with gender dysphoria. You're just willy-nilly it, shooting drugs, because that's what hormones are, and thinking your whole life is going to be better. No, it isn't. It's going to be worse because maybe you're not trans. How do you know if you're actually trans if you're not going through a system? You just know? That's not true. I didn't know I was trans. I knew I felt different. I knew I felt like a boy. I knew I wanted to be hanging out with the boys and doing that. But lots of people like me grow out of it all the time because they weren't pushed into that space. I wasn't pushed into this space. I did it all on my own, and I grew up and I found the space, and I lived many lives before I transitioned. Thank the goddess. Thank you, goddess, for giving me the opportunity. We're not even going to let kids have the opportunity to figure out themselves, and we're going to shove drugs because we know better. We don't know anything. Zero. We know zero about transitioning kids. Zero. That's why you all keep saying trans genocide. I know. I see what you're doing. You're using the kids for this narrative as trans genocide. You're using the kids. Thank you, my friend. You're so great. Thank you. Acts of genocide include mutilation, sterilization of people, and separating children from their parents. Oh, wow. Thank you. That's interesting, isn't it? These are ways to destroy groups without outright killing them. I think the division is our nation is on. Well, I do too. I do too. But thank you. That's very profound what you wrote here. I want everybody to see that. That is very profound. So you see what's happening here, people? They want you to think certain things. I mean, I could go deep. You know that. We can all go deep into the conspiracy. It's kind of easy these days. It's very easy to find that conspiracy. And I'm going to sound like that guy, but I'm not. I'm not that guy. I'm very aware. I'm going to keep repeating myself. I'm 30 years into my transition. I'm very grounded. I'm very focused. I care. I don't only care about trans people. I care about all of us. I fought for gay rights 30 years ago. I fought in the AIDS epidemic. I've been fighting for trans rights, traveling the world, changing laws. Many of you youngsters don't even know that. Many of the things that happen today is because of your elders and people before me traveling the world to create change. I've changed. I've created trans rights all over the place. Yet I'm this bad tranny That's how I can poke holes in this community and tell you that it's fake. It's fake. Because we didn't act like this. And the trans people I know and the trans people I'm around, we don't act like this. We're very disgusted in what we see. We're not part of this. Many of them can't do what I do. I'm very blessed by the universe to be able to sit here and have a live, actual chat with you about things people are too scared to talk about. I feel it. I know how blessed I am, and I know how lucky I am, and I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without all of you showing up. That means you all want to have the same conversation I have. It's not anti-trans. It's not anti-LGBT. It's pro-human. That's what we're having. We're having a pro-human conversation here. And if you don't want to have it, then you're in the wrong space. And if I hurt your feelings, you're in the wrong space. But you've got to learn to get your feelings hurt. I get my feelings hurt on a daily basis. You don't think it hurts my feelings to have young trans people say the things they say? It hurts me. I'm going to have to move forward and through it. And the thing is that I'm luckily that I'm older, and I don't know if I'm wiser, but I most definitely have a lot of life experience that has taught me how to just move through people's hate and anger. I've constantly been pushing the envelope in this community for 20 years since I started doing my other work, my movies that people always try to hold against me. It doesn't matter. I didn't do those movies for you. I did it for people who want to watch it. But that being said, I got attacked from that. I've been attacked for years from the trans community, from the other communities, from all kinds of communities. It's not new. And I realize now all of those attacks were to get me prepared for now, because I'm ready. I'm very ready. I am not fearful. I have no fear to say what I need to say. I have no fear of any trans person at all. Come at me. I really don't care. It means nothing to me. The activism now on the internet is fake. It's not real activism. Real activism is showing up and creating bridges. That's what activism is. Did you know that? It's not hurting people. It's not punching people in the face. That's not activism. Activism is showing up and creating change in people's minds so that me and you can move forward in the world. Because as long as you hate me, right? As long as you hate me, we're not moving forward, because then that makes me not hate you, but have to push against you. So every day the friction exists. In order to move, you got to get the friction out of the way, right? Let's just look at a car, right? Thank you, friend. People don't realize that when they bully and become extremists with kids, they give the far right. That's right. I say it all the time. You people are the ones giving these crazy people who hate us the ammo, not me. I'm speaking truth. Why? Okay, I'm going to pose this question to you out there. I want to know why. Why is there this need to be violent in the trans space right now? What is this militant, angry, trans genocide? You're killing us all. Trans kids are kids. Trans. What is it with the anger? Where's this coming from? And why? I really want to hear all your opinions of that, because I personally don't understand. I'm not angry. And I try to look back at my transition and when I first transitioned. Was I angry? No. I would say that I was happy and I was feeling so fulfilled and I was feeling so on the right track that I just wanted to be this guy and walk the world, that I wasn't angry at you. I was angry prior to my transition. I was a very angry woman, and I was a very angry lesbian. And I was that typical fighting all the time, like just out of control, drinking and drugs. And it wasn't until my transition that I calmed and focused and created. And that's why I sit here exposing myself to the world, because you're seeing angry trans people. You're seeing angry, mean people. Of course, you're going to think, oh, God, why do we want people to transition? They're insane. Thank you, friend. Appreciate that a lot. Let's not forget about do we need to talk about Jeffrey Marsh? I don't know. Do you want to talk about Jeffrey Marsh? So It's a cult. See, all of you are saying it's a cult. Yeah. Yeah. I do feel on some level. Yeah. Why has it become so culty? It's a control mechanism. I kind of think, right? Okay, here's this. This is true. Hormone imbalance can cause irritability and anger. I know that just by having that's true. It actually can. And you don't want to know what? People always make this assumption that because I use testosterone, I must be an angry weirdo. No, actually. You just saw me in the beginning of the live. I was crying. I'm actually more sensitive now than I was living as a woman. I was much more angry, much more reactive, much more less in my body. You know what I mean? So, what? Wow. Are you kidding? You are amazing. That is just incredible. I'm like, are my eyes seeing that? Wow. I mean, I don't even know what to say to you. That means a lot to me. Holy crap. Here's the deal, friends. You are so generous to me. It's crazy. I just, I'm doing this because I care about you and me. And I don't want to be part of hate. And I don't want to be part of a disconnect. I don't want to be part of mad, mean people. I want to hang out with you. I want to smoke a joint if that's what you do with you. I want to have conversation and learn. We won't do that if we hate. Trans people won't learn anything, nor will the world, because you're not willing as trans people to have these conversations. You're making it worse for all of us. When you say shit like, it's not my job to educate cisgender people, really? Whose job is it to educate cisgender people then, my friends? If it's not your job as a transsexual or a transgender or a non-binary, if it's not your job and you expect people to know about you, yet it doesn't exist, how do you expect to move forward? Thank you, friend. That really just is very powerful. It means so much to me. Thank you. It does. I won't shut up. I'll never shut up. Never. 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 I don't care if people hate me. I really just don't care, because what is hate? Right? What is hate? Think about it for a minute here. When people hate you, what does that even mean? I think it means they hate themselves. That's what I think. I think people hate themselves. And that's where that anger is coming from in this trans space, right? It's coming from, you brought me to the same side. Well, I mean, I'm going to call my mom and tell her. Someone said right on, friend. I do appreciate that. That's funny. You know, people aren't being taught to love themselves. So here's what I want to say, and what I see as an older person in this community. Okay. Here's what I see: the teaching of kids to be angry, the teaching to kids to react, the teaching to kids that nobody will ever accept you because you're trans, the teaching to kids that, oh, watch out, they're trying to kill us at every corner, the teaching to kids that, if you don't transition, you'll kill you. All this negative, negative, negative narrative. And I'm coming behind that going, wait a minute, kids, that's not true. That's not true. And when I say kids, I want you to know I mean 20-year-olds. So that's just how old Trampod talks. That's not true. You've got trans is. Here's what I want to say: trans is not the end all be all. It's just a plug-in. It's a plug-in because you're not feeling good. Something's wrong. Something's off. You get diagnosed with gender dysphoria. You put the trans thing inside of you, the hormones, the surgery, to come out the other side happy. You come into the trans box all messed up because you're not sure what's going on with you, and then you pop out the other side happy tranny. That's what transition is supposed to do for you. But you're not popping out the other side happy. You've literally gone into the trans space to be angry and mean. You're not doing it to be happy. So why are you transitioning? Thank you, friend. That means a lot. Appreciate it. Really, I do. I think childhood abuse causes a lot of anger, and certain people will always look for an identity to belong to. Oh, no, 100%. and misplaced anger. 100%. That's what's happening with the trans space. I very much believe that. I believe that young people on this thing, right, are on TikTok or all of the other things, are seeing things that they want to be. And how do I know that? Well, I was a punk rocker, right? I was goth. I wasn't goth. What was I? New wave. Remember new wave? I don't know if you all know new wave, but it's all about the clothes. It was all about the clothes. Punk rock, new wave, music. It was all about rebellion. It was all about pushing back against your parents. It was all about being different. Everyone wants to be different. No one wants to be the normal, average kind of thing. So 100%. That's the dangerous part, that we're leading kids down a path that isn't for them. That isn't. Oh, thank you, friend. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Check my PayPal. Right on. You're awesome. Thank you. So why? I know why. I'm going to answer my own question. My question was, why would we do this to kids? We do this to kids in this community because we have sick people leading this community. We have sick people who've interjected and literally like put in some toxic nonsense behavior to our community. It seems we've been raising entitled kids for a few years. Let me tell you something here. As dad and the parent, not my kid, ain't happening. No way. I mean, to be honest with you, he could probably have whatever he needed to have, but it ain't happening. It ain't happening. You got to teach. You're a parent. It's your job. Come on, parents, step up. It's your job to, that's what parenting is, as far as I'm concerned. Parenting is not being the best friend with your child. No, they don't need to be your best friend. They're looking for guidance. My kid is looking for guidance. When I snap a little bit at him for not doing what I asked to be done, I see that, I'm not hitting, none of that, just a little bit of that. What's up, dude? You're actually playing on your Oculus when I asked you to get your clothes together. That's actual parenting. But I don't see that today. I see, oh, you think you're trans, and if I don't transition you, you're gonna kill yourself. Wonder where they're getting that language from. Where are all the dead kids? Not, God forbid, not that I'm asking for it, but this idea. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, friend. I'll do that. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, this idea, and it's gross. It's gross. Thank you, Jacqueline. See you later. It's gross that we're making this narrative that if you don't transition your kid, they'll kill themselves. How pathetic and how manipulative and how like anti-trans that is. As a transsexual, the last thing anyone should be doing is transitioning their kids when maybe their kids need some mental health care. Maybe their kids need to have some diagnosis. Maybe their kids need something else. Maybe something else is going on. But you just stamp them as trans without going through a whole system. And don't tell me that's not happening. Don't tell me. I'm tired of people saying, that's not happening. They're not transitioning children. They're not giving. Oh my God, please, really? We can just dig up factual information and plaster it all over the place to show you. I'm tired of these lies. Now, let me ask you this. If they're transitioning children and they think it's the best thing ever that's happening to children, why are they lying about it? Right? Why are they lying about it? If they think it's the best thing ever and that kids should be taking hormone blockers and that kids should be having surgeries at 14, why are they lying that that's not happening? Because to lie means you're not being honest about what's really happening. It means you don't want people to see that. That's what I think that is. So if you're so okay with children, trans kids, which is also barfy, how dare you label these kids as trans? You don't know what this kid is. The kid is dealing with some, what if they're just gender nonconforming? Why can't they be a non-binary kid? Why do they have to be trans? Why do you have to transition them? Why can't you just let them find their space? Why can't you just let them be gender nonconforming kids? Because that's really what they are. They're actually gender nonconforming kids. It's fucking gross. And it's really bizarre to me that everyone's just on board with this, medicalizing children. Guess what happens? We all know. I don't need to tell you all. And they're medicalized for life. Who makes money off of that? Your kids. I feel sorry for these trans parents. I do. Oh gosh, Jazz, we could definitely talk about that. I feel sorry for these parents. I mean, I couldn't even imagine. I live as a trans person, so I would know what to do on some level. But that being said, these people don't know shit. And all of a sudden their kid is saying I'm trans is a red flag. It's a red flag. That's what I think. I wouldn't take my kids seriously if they said I'm trans. I would not take them seriously at all. Because why? Because first off, I'm trans and I know what's up. Secondly, where'd you get that word trans from, kiddo? Let me take it back to 1968 or 9, maybe 1970. Okay? Maybe let me take you back there when I was a kid. Never did I say I'm trans. Never did I say I want to transition. Never did I say any of that. You know what I said? I'm a boy. That's what I said. Just like that. I'm a boy. I didn't say I want to be a boy. I said I'm a boy. I work in mental health. Thank you, friend. And conditional threats with suicide are as old as psychiatry for so many reasons. Who hide behind it. That's right. That's right. Thank you for saying that. Read that. That is very, very important. That's right. Threats of suicide. It's been around forever. Thank you, friend. I have read that the shooter had extremely religious parents. Okay. And they were never accepted. Okay. What are your views on religion? And look, I believe in religion. Okay. I'm more of a Buddhist leaning. I'm practicing Judaism right now. I grew up in a Baptist family, so I'm all over the place. But I actually think religion can be quite healing and can be quite good. There's bad and good sides to everything. I think a lot of the more organized, stricter religions can be quite scary and can have some, ideologies behind them that don't necessarily uh, resonate with me, if that makes sense, and why I don't sort of practice certain types of them of religions. But I don't think there's the unity church. There's many people who are not many, but we have trans rabbis, we have trans priests, we have all kinds of people in religion. So I think it's fine. And again, it's your choice. I don't think that those two things are in each other. You can be trans and not religious, or you can be religious and not trans, or you can be both. Again, here's what I want to keep saying. Trans is not a lifestyle, and it's become a lifestyle, and it's become this identity choice. That's not what transsexualism is. Transsexualism is a mental disorder that makes you feel as if you want to be the opposite sex you were born in. That's it. It's real simple, people. You choose to go onto medical route so that you can live the life of the opposite sex you were not born as. We all know our biology. We all understand it. My biology is female. It's why I have to take testosterone. It's why I made myself look like a man so that I could walk the world. Trans is over here. It's not in my everyday life. I don't open my wallet and show my trans card everywhere I go. I really think that that's a very important part of my message, is that I want people to understand that now this new trans narrative. So I'm going to go back to when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s. I never said I was trans. That didn't even exist. Thank God. The internet didn't exist. I was a boy. I wasn't wanting to be a boy. I was a boy, and I played with the boys, and I hated the girls, and I had a GI Joe. Here, look, let me show you. I had a GI Joe. This is an actual real 1970s GI Joe that my friend bought me off, I think, eBay or something. I remember I used to just love GI Joe. I wanted to be GI Joe so bad. I used to take his clothes. Okay, maybe I'm telling maybe too much information, but really, I used to take his clothes off and look at his chest. I wanted to have that GI Joe. Anyway, this was like, sort of the thing that got me through. I didn't play with girl toys. My parents were super awesome. They bought me boy stuff. I was the boy on some level. You know what I mean? So I just want you to think about what's going on with the youth today, and why are they using these words, trans. I'm trans at 8 or 9. I'm trans or I'm non-binary. Someone told me a 10-year-old told them they were a non-binary. You know, I think it is that they don't feel that. I think it is that they want that, right? They say stuff like, I want to be trans. I don't want to be trans, just so you know. I don't want to be trans. I want to be a man. I'm not. So I'm a transsexual who used the system in order to move forward. You see that? This is where I want you to hear, because I'm really, really, really focused on bringing this information back to the world. It's been lost. It's been lost. Thank you, friend. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much. It's been lost in this new narrative of what trans is. They rewrote the book. And as you know, what keeps happening in this community is they keep rewriting the book. They keep rewriting our history. Soon they'll just they'll write me out of it. They'll write you out of it. They'll write anyone that doesn't, on some level, hold the torch or the narrative. They'll write us all out of it as if we never existed before, ever, which is a shame because you can't do that. I'm not going to let you. Not me. I don't care. Write me out of everything. I don't give a shit. It's not about me. It's about the future of this community. And it's about the future of what transsexualism really is. It's about not getting our community into this space where now everyone fucking hates us, because now that shooter who is supposedly trans, you go look at every fucking news station. It's sick what people are saying. We don't know if that kid is trans or not. We don't know anything about what that kid. I heard the kid has autism. Did any of you hear that? Here, let me read this. Hey, Brittany, my stepdaughter has a friend who is non-binary. She's 10. What? She's super impressionable and has trouble making friends. So I worry she's she's already sucked in. But that's my point. You see that? There are 10-year-olds saying they are non-binary. Next, they're all going to say they're bisexual at 10. They don't know what that means. They don't know what that means. I have a 10-year-old. I talk to him all the time. Dude, does anybody at your school say they're trans? I ask him all the time these questions. I want to know what's going on there. And he laughed and he said, yes, somebody said they're non-binary, and he laughed. That says a lot. Thank you, friend. Buck, it looks like the LGBT community is moving towards, it already has. LGBT people, okay, lesbian, gay, bisexual people, understandably are afraid of the chaos with the T. I say TQ, like trans, queer. It's those crazy people. It is hurting gay rights. I will 100% agree with you on that. And I actually support the LGBT Alliance. I do. At this point in time, I do not believe that the trans people should be connected to LGBT, because they're two different spaces. That the trans is pushing a narrative of it's just about, about gender and biology isn't real. And they're doing all kinds of wingnutty stuff. And so I get why the LGBT. I get it. I grew up in a gay woman space, and on some level, I feel very connected to the gay community. If it wasn't for gay men, my career wouldn't have been what it was. It was gay men. Do you know? I need you to know that it was gay men who supported me 30 years ago. It was gay men who took me to the gym. It was gay men who said, "You're awesome, dude. Right on." It was gay men who called me a dude. It was gay men who actually helped me get to this space. I will never disconnect. All my gay male friends died of AIDS prior to my transition. I'm very connected to the gay men and the gay women's community. And I 100% agree. They're threatening them. When you discount your biology, okay, and you are a trans woman with a penis, and you want to go into a gay woman's space, and you are not acknowledging what the gay women are saying to you, that's homophobic, whether you want to believe it or not. I don't care that you consider yourself a lesbian. Let me give you this story right here, real quick here. So when I transitioned, before my transition, I never had a thought well, here, I'm sorry, I'll just finish. How can we stick together and support each other? Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I think first off, how we need to stick together is solidarity and a fact that we're willing to have conversation with each other and we're willing to call out the wingnut trans militants. That's number one. All of us, no matter where we come from, we must all come together in solidarity to remove the trans militant because they're the ones who are the scary, dangerous, freaky weirdos who are killing us. So that's the number one thing. We all have to get on board with, we all agree those people are not trans. Those people are a militant group. Those people are not in any way, shape, or form trying to create a healthy, loving space for people to transition. And once we all become, solid with that, and I think that we can come back together as an LGBT community. I do. But I think for now, that split makes sense to me. I don't blame you. I honestly don't. No way. So when I started transitioning 30 years ago, prior to that, I only was very attracted to only biological women. So that's it, biological women. So, pretty much my whole life, I didn't even really have sex with any guys until later on in my life because I was just really more focused on women. So, and I lived as a gay butch woman for many years. That being said, I transitioned and this weird thing started to happen to me. And remember how long ago this was. All of a sudden, I just started having this desire, sexual desire to be with a man. And it actually shocked me, everybody. I always say, I have I was homophobic to myself. I kind of was. I was like, how can I like dudes? I like girls. Like, that's not right. Like, it totally weirded me out. It completely weirded me out. So, oh, hey, Jennifer. Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend. We have fought and won rights for women, people of color, gay people. There always has to be a new cause. We've run out of good ones. Now it's, but trans, no, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but is trans a cause? Now, are we being honest about trans rights? No, we're not. No, we're not. So that's why I have to push back a little bit on that. I'm telling you, I come from a space where we have a ton of rights as trans people, and they're lying about that we don't have rights. We have a lot of rights. Yeah, things are being taken away now, no doubt, because we messed with kids. 100%. And I said this was coming, whether you want to believe me or not. When you start messing with kids, people are going to lose it. They don't care what adults do. People out there in the world don't care if any adult transitions. They don't care if you cut your tits off, if you get a dick or a whatever. It doesn't matter. People don't care what adults do. Cut your legs and arms off and run around as a ball. Who cares? No one cares. But when you bring kids, you better be prepared, including me. So I'm just going to get back to this real quick. There I was. Oh my God, what? I like dudes. This is weird. Anyway, long story short, I started to look at men. And as a transsexual man, it was difficult. So I started showing up at gay men bars, like more the leather bars. And you can see how I look. I mean, I looked not as masculine, I think, back then. And I didn't have the beard. I had more of a mustache. Anyway, I would show up and it was cool. They saw me as a dude smoking cigars, leather, blah, the whole man thing. I was totally into it. But there came a time when dudes started hitting on me, right? So the sexual part started to happen. And I was like, what? Because I had never done this before. So I was like literally on my own. Now what? And, so I met this dude at the bar, and then it became this space of talking, da 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 da, blah, blah, blah. Then he's, wanting to hook up. And I'm like, oh, whoa, dude, because everyone knows I don't have bottom surgery. Doesn't matter that I look this way. I don't have bottom surgery. So there we are. And I'm like, I knew it. It was in my gut. It was actually in my gut. I said to myself, you have to tell this guy. You have to. And there I was. I told him, hey, dude, before we sort of leave or do whatever, I got to tell you something. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I literally said, I was born a woman and I transitioned to live my life as a man. I literally said that. And he looked at me, you guys, he looked at me like, huh? I can't get his face out of my brain because he was like, I don't get what you're saying to me. He could not even understand what I was saying. And I had to say again, I had a sex change I had a sex change from a woman to a man. And he was like, you're kidding. I'm like, no, dude, really. And I don't have, that equipment, blah, blah, blah. And here's what I'm going to tell you. He was so cool about it. He was like, I don't care, dude. I see you as a man. This was 30 years ago. I see you as a man, maybe 25. I see you as a man. What I'm trying to convey here is this: truth, honesty, never feeling that you can't be honest with people about who you are because it's the right thing to do. If you had an STD or if you had HIV or AIDS, God forbid, you have to tell people. You have to disclose that before you have a sexual experience. It's the exact same thing for trans people. We have to tell people about who and what we are in order for people to make that decision on their own, or else you're lying to them. So, my point in this story is that I see lots of trans women who are identifying as lesbians, but are not saying that they have to tell about their biology. Yes, you do. And also, you do because you have a penis. And most lesbians I know are not necessarily into the penis. Some could be, and that's fine, but I'm talking about a majority. How dare you think that you can just go in there and say you're a woman when you're a biological man and not giving this other person the opportunity to make that choice for themselves? That's called consent. That's what this community continues to talk about, consent, yet none of you do it. It's consent to tell people about who you really are. And when you're truthful to the world is truthful back. It is an easy equation, people. I don't know why this community is being taught to lie to you all. I don't know why this community is being told that our biology isn't real. Our biology is a social construct. What? You see why they're doing that? You know why they're doing that. So that they can be women and men too. Thank you, friend. I feel a strong conviction to take on real activism as a second full-time job. Currently, I'm not coordinated with anyone else. Would like to work together, and let's do it. I have an organization that I'm building. And with that, I'll move to this next thing because I'm going to end this live here really soon. Wow. Thank you all for participating today and the beautiful comments and the whole dialogue here. You know, it's why I do this. It really means a lot to me that you're all willing to have these hard conversations. I'm talking, but I'm also watching what you're saying here. And so, you know, it means a lot to me, even if you push back on me, even if you don't agree with me. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Let's not agree on everything. You know, there could be one kid, there could be one trans kid out of 1,000 kids that might really benefit, but I don't think we're in a position to do that right now. I don't think we don't have the right, we don't have the, we don't have the right studies. We don't have the right long-term effects of what's going to happen with these kids. Shame on us. Shame on us for doing that to children. What is wrong with everybody? I mean, come on, man. These are young kids. We were all kids. I'll keep saying it to you. We were all kids. We all know what it means. Don't you remember when you were 10? Everyone here in this room, right here, I want you to put what you thought you were at 10. Everyone, do it. I want you to all say, at 10 years old, I thought I was. Maybe you thought you were a girl. Maybe you thought you were a boy. Maybe you just liked me. Maybe you thought you were an animal. Maybe you thought you were a spaceship. Maybe you thought you were an elephant with purple ears. Every single one of you has a story of what you thought you were at 10 years old. Wonder Woman, girl. I guarantee you all had a thought process. Imagine a unicorn. Imagine this. You went to your parents and you said you were a unicorn, and your parents were like, okay, cool, you're a unicorn. And they bought you a unicorn outfit and they let you run around the world as a unicorn. And then next year, you're like, I'm not really a unicorn. Why did my parents just let me run around with a unicorn? Guess what's so great about that? Unzip the unicorn outfit and you're back to you. Superman, tomboy, I wanted to be a girl. See? I guarantee you, if we ask every single human on this planet, they all wanted to be something at 10. And did you become that something on your own, or did your parents push you into it? Probably you became something on your own. You weren't pushed into it like today. You know, we have to have some compassion for parents. You know that? We really, really, really do. As hard as it is, your children are lucky to have you as a parent. Well, let's tell them that. You know how it is, are they? I'm just a little strict. Mom is not so strict. Mom is letting them get away with shit. I'm like, what? You go clean up the dog poop. I had a wild imagination as a kid, even more so now. Works wonders when you are creating fantasy stories. That's right. That's right. It made me bet. That's right. That's right. Totally. Let's just be honest here. We all were wanting to be something, and we might have become that. We might not have, but we all made the choices on our own. The parents did not. So, with that, I want to tell you, I think we need to have more compassion for parents. It's a difficult space. This community is lying to them. So, of course, if anyone told you as a parent that your child will kill themselves if you don't do this, you're literally going to do it. How gross. Thanks, Al. Thanks, buddy. So, love the conversation today. Thank you for letting me cry. Thank you for letting me say things that aren't always so positive. Thank you for letting me open up dialogue that is always shut down. And I promise you this, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to not say things that people don't want heard. I'm going to say things that I feel are important. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but it needs to be said. And if you like it, I appreciate that. But that being said, I'm here to encourage change. We don't need to be living like this. We do not need to be seeing children being slaughtered because whatever the reason being, we have a mental health crisis in this country. It needs to be addressed. Trans is part of that. Trans has become part of the mental health crisis. And if we don't stop telling every child out there they're trans and instead say, hey, wait a minute, kiddo, let's get you into therapy. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's see why you're feeling this way. If we don't come back to that form of transitioning, we are going to have such a huge mess on our hands. I'm telling you, we are. So know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's sad that these things are happening, but they're happening for a reason. And we need to look at why they're happening, not that they are happening. And we don't need to look at the identity of the shooter. We need to look at why this shooter decided to do this. We need to look at that manifesto. Here, before I go, I want to ask you all one thing, and you can just say yes or no on the side here. Do you believe that the manifesto should be released? I do. Do you believe the manifesto should be released? What I see coming out of the LGBTQ community, they're saying no. Leaders, right? Leaders of the LGBT are trying to shut it down. Yes, release the manifesto. No, Emily says no. Okay, Emily, tell us why. Emily says no. Okay, that's one no. And I really love, I fear these trans extremists are going to make life very dangerous for us trans folks. They are, you said it, friend. I fear these trans extremists are going to make life very dangerous for us trans folks trying to blend into society and just live in peace. They are. That's why we're here talking. Thank you for saying that. And we have one no. I want to see. Sorry, friend. I'm going to have to try to get through this. Is Pia. Oh, Pie War. Could you elaborate real quick for me, friend? I really want to know why you think it shouldn't be released. So most of all you say to release it. I agree. They don't want it released because it will make them look bad. Not releasing it, people will just make up. That's right. There you go. This is a great. Not releasing it, people will just make that. That's right. The ugliest versions. That's right. That's why it's really, really important that we get to see what's going on here. No, not to defend the shooter, to not inspire. Okay, no, I get that. I get that idea, but I think it's the wrong idea. And I'll tell you why. Because these people are already inspired. They don't need this manifesto. They don't. And also, do you know that they released the manifesto of many other killers? So why? So it's going to look a little bit strange to me if they release every other manifesto of all these nutcases, but then the trans quote unquote they're not going to release it. That doesn't look good for us. And I believe that we need to see it and we need to know what's going on. I say no, but for a different angle. Okay, tell us why, my friend. I'd love to know why. So it's great. I love that some of you said no. Yeah, that's and I think you have valid reasons why. But I'm gonna say that I prefer that it is released because I think we'll learn a lot. If it's released, we're gonna learn a lot, not only about this shooter, but we're gonna learn about what's going on with these young people, and we're gonna start to learn what's happening. I did hear that this young person has autism, right? So is autistic, and so as we know, we're somehow lining up autism as trans. So that's a part we need to have discussion about, as well as this person has a history of mental health problems. Clearly, you don't do this unless you have some mental health issues going on. So that being said, yeah, they want violence. It's true. I don't want violence. I'm going to close down here and I'm going to tell you this. I don't want violence. As a transsexual person, I don't want violence. I want love. And I want you to love me. And I want you to respect me. And I want you to see me as an equal. I am not any different than you. We all have our shit going on in this world. I transitioned to belong. I did not transition to be separate from this world. I love every people. And I'm not here to sort of be a spokesperson for trans. That's never been my space. I'm here to show you somebody who had some fucked up shit go on in their early life. I fixed it. I did a lot of work on myself. I did it. I still go to therapy. And that's what I want the world to see. I'm responsible for myself. You are not responsible for me, but we're not teaching people, not just trans people. We're just not teaching people to be responsible for themselves anymore. And that is actually a very bad space to be in. When you teach young people that they don't have to take responsibility for punching someone in the face or saying that they're trans, so they get to have a pass on all this shit, you're not teaching these kids good behavior. You're teaching them that they can just go and mouth off whenever they want and it's okay. And that's not the way society works. There are laws in society, and there are laws for a reason. If we didn't have certain types of societal laws, everything would be insane. So know that. That's the reason why we have these things. Thank you, friend. I appreciate it. And everyone, thanks for the amazing tips today. Wow. I mean, it's just mind blowing. I don't expect it at all. And the way you all just come for me and really support me, my heart is pounding big time. So with that, thank you all so much. There is a fascination with motivations going back to Tim. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a division from the reality. Yep. Yep, that's right. Treat aggression accordingly. Don't make martyrs. There you go. Well, there's that too. There's that too. Let's try to get back to reality, people. Let's try to get back to love and acceptance and learning about difference in people and understanding we can coexist in this world together, but we have to respect each other's spaces. And that goes, people need to start to learn to respect women's space, whether they like it or not. And that's how we're going to get our trans community back. Back in the day, we respected women's space. And I'm not saying men because men don't give a shit. It's women. And so once we learn how to respect women's space and stop saying these stupid shit like TERF and all of this shit, then we'll actually start to learn how to get back to living our lives. I hope you have a great day too. And thanks again for joining me. And I'll see you all next week. And I have a new video coming up. It should be uploaded. Seth uploaded it. Say hi to Seth. And I really do appreciate you all. Have a beautiful day. And I'll talk to you all later on.